Nope.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. This is Fulcrum. I believe that is how it is pronounced, but I don't know. Inquisitor, Keystone Crit, Reap, and also Exsanguinate guide. So we are using Reap for main single target damage skill, and I'm using Exsanguinate for mapping because it has way better clear with also chain support. This is going to be a conversion build because Fulcrum itself already has conversion. But before I start explaining how this build works, first of all, the first question most of you are gonna ask, can you play this build without Mage Blood? Yes. This build is right now very tanky, 90 resistances, capped chaos resist, I guess. Spell suppression chance is 100. Good armor with the flasks, 52k. Lot of movement speed, those kind of stuff. It is easy to dodge most bosses, but something like Maven is actually hard to kill. Her last phase, I mean. Because there are lots of lasers, you know, if you just touch one of them, you just lose all your regeneration. This build also uses permanent Righteous Fire because it is an Inquisitor build. Meaning that once you get hit by Maven's lasers at the last phase, maybe, let's say, you actually kill yourself pretty much. So that's why Maven is not a good boss with this character, but the other bosses are obviously fine. So yeah, this is what the build is about. If you skip Mage Blood, you probably gonna skip Melding of the Flesh, because that jewel actually lowers our resistances a lot. So using Mage Blood actually helps a lot. So we can actually use Ruby, maybe Sapphire or Topaz Flask, you know, to cap your resist easier and also gonna be tankier against those damage types. That's it. If you skip Mage Blood, if you skip Melding of Flesh, you can play this build easier. And you also need to spend obviously less, but expect lower defenses. You can still have 100% spell suppression. It doesn't have to do anything with Mage Blood anyways. Alright, so let's just explain how this build works. First of all, normally Inquisitor is not a fast character. So if you want to play a Keystone Crit, maybe you need to try putting something on the character. So that is what we are trying to do in this version. A Fulcrum weapon. This is the probably best way to get lots of action speed, I'm gonna say, because we actually self-shield ourselves. So let's just explain slowly. First of all, this weapon has lots of damage conversion. We are using Exsanguinate and also Reap. They are both physical spells. We want to just convert them to elemental, obviously, because this is an Inquisitor build. We need to deal elemental damage, because that makes more sense. So this weapon has random rolls obviously, but in the end make sure that the weapon has at least 100% damage conversion. Most damage should be cold, so we can actually apply easier chills, let's say, because chill is our #1 stat. So you're gonna say why you want to apply chill, those kind of stuff. This weapon also has elemental ailments you inflict are reflected to you. So this means that if you, let's say, be ailment immune, that is not good actually, because we actually want to get benefit from those ailments. So we actually want to play with chilled. Our character needs to be chilled, choked, and ignited at the same time, because this weapon also provides even more stuff. Elemental damage with hits is lucky while you are shocked, meaning that your damage are gonna actually get rolled twice, and the higher numbers are gonna calculate, for the DPS. So this means more DPS. Damage penetrates elemental resistances while you are chilled. This is also nice, obviously, but we are playing with Inevitable Judgment on Inquisitor's passive. Crit strike, ignore enemy monster elemental resistances. So actually this part doesn't work. But we still need to be get chilled, because we are actually gonna get that reversed with Winter Weave Ring. Effect of chill on you is reversed. This means that normally chill is a debuff that lowers action speed. So if you are familiar with Tailwind, you know that Tailwind is a buff that actually increases your action speed. So chill is the opposite version actually, but with this ring you actually reverse that again. So this is like a Tailwind for your character, but chill goes up to 30%, so it means 30% action speed. Tailwind is 8%. So you can see that it is actually way better compared to a Tailwind. So this is how the character moves and attacks way faster. If you also have a Mage Blood, if you also use a good, maybe Quicksilver Flask, those kind of stuff, this character just flies across the map. You cannot even control the character. It is super fast. That is the reason it is really easy to get hit by the lasers in Maven. Because you just try to cycle on to Maven, the character just goes full speed to the laser. I cannot even control the character on some bosses. That is one of the reasons. Yeah, something like Maven is really hard to kill. Yeah, funny stuff. So chilling is actually good, getting chilled. One more thing about this. So first of all, you will also freeze yourself. So you need to be frozen immune. There are two ways to do that. First of all, Brian King Pantheon. But there is actually something funny about Brian King Pantheon. If you obviously get that cannot be frozen, you are good to go. But if you maybe have an Inquisitor already and you also did the other upgrades, because one of the upgrades actually says reduced effect of chill on you. If you have this upgrade on your Inquisitor, you are screwed. Because that means that you are gonna get less chill effect, meaning that you will have lower DPS, lower action speed. So your character is actually trash right now. You can still play with that Inquisitor. You can maybe use an Arakali Pantheon. That is what we did, because I also had the Pantheon upgrades. The stupid stuff is you cannot undo your Pantheon upgrades. GGG definitely needs to add that to the game, because something like self-chill is just not gonna work on that character if you also want to get that cannot be frozen, and if you already have that other upgrade. So here is what you need to do. You need to craft a boots with open prefix, so you can actually put cannot be frozen. So alright, again same stuff. If you have the Brian King Pantheon's upgrade, reduce effect of chill on you, you need a cannot be frozen boots. If you don't have that upgrade, you are good to go. Just get that cannot be frozen on the Brian King and that's it. Alright, this is super important. Some crazy people even level a new Inquisitor just for these kind of builds, or maybe Berserker if that is another build. Because there are also some self-chill Berserker mapping builds. Those are around for a couple of leagues. They are not new builds, but I don't see much Fulcrum Keston Crit builds, because this is actually a little bit hard to build. This is not a noob build, new build. This is, you need some game knowledge, because Keston Crit builds are always hard to build actually. And finally, with the weapon, let's just finish that. If you are ignited, gain physical damage as extra random element. Good DPS, because this skill, Reap and Exsanguinate, both are actually physical skills, so meaning extra damage is actually good for this build. Inquisitor already penetrates all damage types. So again, make sure that your weapon has 100% conversion. Cold is better, you try to get more cold. After that, probably lightning. Fire isn't that important, because even with 1% conversion, you can actually deal fire damage and ignite the target and also yourself. So we just explained how to reverse chill, how to be frozen immune. There are also shock and also ignite, obviously. So how to counter those? Soul of Garukan Pantheon, reduce effect of shock on you. You can also put reduce effect of shock on helmets implicits, Searing, Exarch, and Eater of Worlds implicits. It is on one of those. You can also do that. But if you really want to min-max the build, you can actually get Harvest Craft on your jewels and put reduce effect of shock on you implicits. So maybe do some harvest with this build. Farm harvest, you know, try to get those jewel implicits. You can just reroll a jewel all the time, the implicit. Maybe you get something else, just go for harvest again, try to find the jewel again, jewel implicit craft. Just try until you get those effect shock reductions. This is the min-max. Or just get Soul of Garukan. That already lowers 60% of shock, you know, that is actually more than enough. You can just start playing. This is not a hardcore build anyways. Maybe you will die to that shock sometimes, I don't know. But again, this build didn't have that at start, those jewels. We just min-maxed the build later on. Or play with that helmet implicit, because that is actually something like 40%. So finally, Ignite. You actually kill yourself real quick with Ignite if you deal some good damage. This build is already obviously cast on crit, so our crit strike chance is 100%. You will just Ignite yourself all the time, you know, some big Ignites even. So have to be unaffected by Ignite. Again, you cannot be immune to any of these ailments, because that won't work. You need to be unaffected or lower the effect or reverse the chill, something like that. So have to be unaffected by Ignite. Again, boots. So on Shaper bases, there is actually a modifier that is called unaffected by burning ground. If you elevate that modifier by using Orb of Dominance, you can actually get unaffected by Ignite. Here is something stupid. Again, this is GGG's fault. Unaffected by Ignite doesn't mean you are also unaffected by burning ground. That is some stupid shit. So this normally elevated version is obviously good for this build, but you will still get hit by burning ground. That is obviously not gonna kill this build. But so let's just talk about this. This boots normally provides you unaffected by burning ground. You elevate it, spend some more currency. You are now unaffected by Ignite, but you now get hit by burning ground. How does this make any sense? This normally needs to say, you know, unaffected by Ignite and burning ground at the same time. This is just stupid, guys. But this works for the build, because we actually the concern of this build, you know, we actually need that Ignite unaffected. Alright, you need to elevate your boots. People sell elevated Ignite for like 5 Exalt, but Orb of Dominance is 1.5 Exalt. I actually tried 2 times, it cost me 3 Exalt, 2 different boots, because I failed the first one, because Orb of Dominance actually picks one modifier, influence modifier, elevates it, and then delays the other one. So on the item you need to get 2 different influence modifiers. One of that modifier needs to be burning ground, unaffected. The other one is gonna be a random. So just buy a random boot for like 1 chaos, 5 chaos from someone else. Use Orb of Dominance. Hope that RNG picks Ignite, alright? That is how to do that, or just buy an unaffected by Ignite boot for like 5 or 6 Exalt from another player if you don't trust your RNG. That's it. You actually have 50% chance to succeed, you know. I just tried 2 times and that's it. But if you fail more than 3 times, you actually lose money. After that, use Awakener Orb. I picked Tailwind for more action speed, more speed. We need this character to fly, you know. We need a very fast cast on crit build. This is what this build is about. Because we also have reverse chill plus Tailwind, another 8% action speed. Use Awakener Orb, combine the both boots. Hopefully your boots will have an open prefix. If you still need that, cannot be frozen. So you also need to fix that by using maybe Annulment Orbs. Maybe you can even brick your boots. So having a upgraded ranking is not good and even costs you more money. If you need that cannot be frozen. If you know any other sources to get cannot be frozen, let me know in my Discord, so I will actually add that item or whatever it is in the path of building, so other people can actually learn. So this is a cast on crit build, so I need to explain some stuff if you are not familiar how this build works, how cast on crit builds work. So cast on crit is a support gem that actually triggers spells if you crit with the attack that is linked to the gem. So this time we picked Cyclone, one of the best cast on crit skills for melee probably. So because it is a mobility skill also, because this character is already super fast, you can actually play with Cyclone very easy, let's say. Simple as that. So first of all, you need obviously hit chance capped, 100% hit chance, because this is actually you attack and proc with that crit, you know, those spells. So we want 100% hit chance. So you may need to put some accuracy on at least one of your items. That is what we did. I actually have some accuracy on my helmet. I'm also using precision aura, so that way I can actually keep my hit chance easily. Next, we want good crit strike chance. If you follow the talent tree, obviously, we also have assassin markers. So you can easily get that crit strike chance. Use a diamond flask. Use battle fate flask. Feel free to use some other medium cluster jewels maybe. I'm not using any medium clusters on this build, but some popular examples are pressure points, quick getaway, or pressure points, basic of pain. So these kind of medium clusters, if you still need crit strike chance, maybe you have a lower budget gear, but again, this is a Keystone crit build, expect to spend good currency, otherwise this won't work. Keystone crit builds are super expensive in this game. And finally, we need to adjust our attack speed and cooldown recovery rate. So this is the most important part. If you make any mistake on this part, you are gonna lose maybe half of your DPS. This is why Keystone crit builds are not newbie friendly. If you are new in PoE, somehow found this video, don't play this build. But if you are up for a challenge, if you're a smart guy, you can obviously go for that. But if you just make a little bit mistake, you will probably lose at least like 5 or maybe 10 million DPS instantly. So how does this work? So Keystone crit is a gem that has actually cooldown. So you actually need to get cooldown recovery rate and also some decent attack speed, so you can actually trigger those spells whenever they are off cooldown. So I'm just gonna put a picture on the screen. So this actually explains how much cooldown and how much attack speed you need for that cooldown, pretty much. So this time I picked 14 or above cooldown. I don't have 52. It is a little hard to do that, but if you want to maybe even have more DPS, you can go for 52 or above. So we picked 14 cooldown. For that I used Awakener Keystone crit gem, so I don't have to use any cooldown recovery items, because it is hard to do that on this build, because we need other stats on belt and boots, because those are the pieces that can actually have cooldown. So Awakener Keystone crit easily gives us the cooldown that we need, because it has something like 22 cooldown at level 5. But we just need a 14. Anything above that is not necessary unless you hit 52. We didn't do that. Again, I'm playing with 14 cooldown. So that means that we actually need 7.56, something like that, attack speed at most. So if you go above that attack speed, if you have, let's say, 8 attacks per second on your Cyclone, you actually attack faster than the cooldown, meaning that you will actually miss rocks. So this means that your character will Cyclone and do nothing at some parts. You will see that you sometimes don't shoot something. If you can actually see that in game, it is hard to notice that, obviously. You may need to record the video or maybe slow it down if you really need to test it. So we need at least 7 attacks, but not above 7.56, alright? So my build right now has 7.51. You can maybe have a little bit more attack speed, that is the min-max obviously, but I'm maybe losing like 500k DPS, something like that. It doesn't matter. Do you really need to... So let's just explain this. If you have 6.90 something attacks, normally you will say that, yeah, I have 7 attacks, right? You know 6.9 something. It is 7, right? No, it is not. That is not how the game works. In your path of building or in game, whatever, you actually need to see that 7 attacks. So make sure you have at least 7 attacks if you want to play the build correct, but do not go above that 7.56. If you don't know how to configure, do the configuration in your path of building, just copy my path of building and put your items on that path of building, because you need to put, if you have any friends charges, maybe do that. I don't have any friends charges, by the way. I have tailwind boots. This is a self chill build, so you need to type 30% effect of chill. If you have any onslaught, maybe put that. I also don't have onslaught, by the way. If you also get maybe friends charges onslaught, you can easily go for the other attack speed cap, actually cooldown breakpoint, yeah. Did I forget anything else? No, this is it. This is about Keystone crit. This is super important. Again, watch this part again if you didn't understand. So you need to keep your hit chance, good crit strike chance, have that cooldown recovery, and the desired attack speed for that cooldown. Otherwise, you will lose at least maybe half of your DPS, and your build will actually fail. So that's it about the synergy, the Fulcrum. Let's just finish all of the other items. Amulet, Ashes of Stars. This is right now expensive, but this is a high budget Keystone crit build. If you cannot afford this, just get a random +1 level crit multiplier live. I don't know, something amulet. Maybe resist. any attributes that you may still need. You can use any of those stuff. Ace of Stars is very good because we reserve lots of auras, buffs. Also +1 level, obviously nice for DPS. Also quality of skill gems actually is very nice for this build because we use Divergent Cyclone, which has more movement speed. With the Ace of Stars, even more movement speed. So Ace of Stars actually also provides us movement speed. What else? Assassin Mark, Anomalous, I guess. Enemies take increased damage. This is also better with Ace of Stars, so more DPS. We used Frostblink as mobile skill. Divergent has lower cooldown, something like that. Even lower cooldown with Ace of Stars. I'm just trying to find some different gems in my Path of Healing, you know. We got Anomalous Defiance Banner for more armor evasion. This is also gonna get better, but you don't need that. Character already has good armor. Divergent Precision deal to 2% increased damage. That is also gonna be better. Let me just check. 4%. Super min max, guys. 2% increased damage. So these kind of different gems. Also Divergent Righteous Fire. Yeah, that is good because it already provides increased spell damage. That is gonna be huge actually. 49% damage. So lots of stuff, mostly for some DPS, defense, and more speed thanks to Cyclone. So there are some good quality gems in this build. So Ace of Stars is a nice item in the end. But again, you don't need this to start playing the build. Just start playing with a rare Amulet instead. So again, if you have Mage Blood, you also need to get Melding of Flesh, obviously. So you can be tankier, you can have 90 resistances. Here is how to achieve 90% resistances. Talentry already has some good increased aura effect, non-curse auras, but you also need to boost that aura effect from other sources. First of all, you can probably pick any purity of your choice, unless you get more to something, you know, maybe +1 fire on the talentry, those kind of stuff. So this build we picked Purity of Lightning. So that is my concern. I need to get more plus lightning resist. So let's check the body armor first. A rare item. Spell suppression, life, regeneration is very nice for Inquisitor builds. Life maybe. And if you have an open prefix, life as extra ES, because this build is... This is an Inquisitor build. Inquisitor builds usually have life and energy shield at the same time, because he can regenerate both of them at the same time. So that is a good prefix in the end. So just a rare body armor. This kind of stuff are all over the place. You don't need to search for any influence. You shouldn't do that, by the way. It can be obviously Searing Exarch influenced or maybe Eater of Words, because that is what we are gonna do. But do not get any Shaper, Conqueror, whatever, those kind of older influences. After that we are using the orbs, blue and red ones, for non-curse aura effect and Purity of Lightning or Purity of Ice or Fire, depending on what you chose. You also need to obviously maybe use Orb of Conflict to increase the tiers. That is what we did on the non-curse aura, so we can actually get that 20%. So more aura effect, more DPS, more defense, because we use Determination for armor, Zealotry for DPS, Hatred for DPS, Purity of Lightning for resist, Precision, Crit, Accuracy. This is a custom crit build. You need also hit chance 100%. So in the end, non-curse aura effect is one of your best stats. Then put that Purity maybe, and that is how to finish your body armor. So try to achieve the 90% resistances, or play with 89, 88, it doesn't matter. You can min-max the build later on, but make sure that Melding of Flesh actually does something, you know. That is why you need to get some maximum resistances from items, those kind of stuff. Helmet. First of all, for enchant, there are lots of reservations, so we picked Hatred, Reservation, Efficiency. If you think anything else also provides the same, if you haven't got any other reservation notables for that specific aura maybe, you can get that enchant. It can be a Determination, it can be a Zealotry, because there are no such thing as Hatred Reservation on the talent tree. Zealotry Reservation on the talent tree. You can get those enchants also. Just get help from a Labyrinth service provider, you know, people just do that service all day. So a reservation enchant, make sure you fix the mana reservation, alright? For the stats on the helmet, life, suppression, and mana reserve efficiency if you still need that. That is how we crafted it. Essence, you are seeing on the screen. Just spam it until you get some good other stats. If you want to keep your suppression, if you want to have 100% suppress, if you still need suppress, you know. By the way, our boots don't have suppress. It is so hard to do that because we crafted ourselves with Awakener orb. If you are lucky, maybe you will also get suppression on your boots. If you didn't, that is what we did. Obviously, it is hard. Get an evasion based helmet and use that essence on that, so until you hit that suppression. You don't have to worry about prefixes because this is also gonna be an Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch item. You can just make Searing Exarch dominant by using a bigger Searing Exarch currency. Then use Eldritch Chaos Orb and reroll the prefix all the time until you hit some life, those kind of stuff, and maybe open prefix. So we can maybe put +1 AoE and put some good gems in that. This is actually where my Purity of Lightning is, because in the end you want to make sure that your Purity is actually level 23. Because Purity, all Purity skills, it doesn't matter, it can be Fire, Lightning, Ice. They actually get another +1 resist at level 23. So level 21 Corrupted Gem, plus a Soul Stars or a rare amulet with +1 skill gems, it is the same thing. So that makes 22. Finally, an open prefix on your helmet. Or glows actually. Glows can also have +1 AoE gems. Make sure you put that from the bench and put your Purity in that item in the end. And that makes 23 level of Purity, so +1 another maximum resist. Helmets can also have reservation efficiency on the implicit with the, again, same stuff, Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch. You need to use these orbs all the time for this build. And also +1 lightning resist. As you can see, this helmet actually has +1 lightning resist. If you also use Orb of Conflict, it goes up to +2, I guess. I'm not sure about +3, but I am definitely sure that there is actually a +2, because I used that on other builds a couple of months ago. So yeah, you can maybe get that +2 lightning and craft a verse implicit on your body armor maybe. So make sure you get those +1 resistances. But obviously this time I picked Purity of Lightning. That is what you can put on your helmet. If you pick Purity of Ice, that is actually on gloves. If you pick Purity of Fire, that is on our boots, but boots already have two different influence types, Shaper and Hunter. You cannot put it on the boots actually. So picking Purity of Fire is probably not a good option for this build. You should pick Lightning or Ice. Moving on with the gloves. So again, you can put +1 maximum, what is that, Cold. If you don't need that, obviously Unnerve, Conversion if you still need that, maybe other stuff. Spell Suppression, I believe that is also on gloves. Damage Leech maybe. On the implicit, if your character misses Leech, you can do that. Cold Damage Leech, Fire Damage Leech. This build deals all kind of elements in the end. But you should probably get Cold Damage Leech because you should get a Fulcrum with higher Cold Conversion. That is the best damage probably for this build, for that guaranteed 30% chills. So yeah, for the glove stats, again no influence because we will put Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch later on, alright? Again, suppression, life, resist. If you need that open prefix, put +1 AoE gems and put your Purity in gloves, alright? If you couldn't do that on your helmet, alright? This is a Keystone Crit build. Again, if you need accuracy, make sure you put it on your gloves or helmet, because our rings are uniques. But you can actually play with a rare ring, because this is about the gloves, by the way. Let's just explain the ring, other ring. I actually use Circle of Guild with total mana cost reduction on the implicit. You can also craft that on a prefix yourself on a rare ring, because this is a Cyclone Keystone Crit in the end. You need to make sure that your Cyclone actually has some lower mana, so you can actually sustain it, because we are gonna press Cyclone all the time, you know, even while moving, because this character is super fast. You don't need to press that mobility skill that much. This character is so fast. Make sure that you actually have a lower mana cost on your Cyclone, so you can actually put that on your rings prefix on the crafting bench. Channeling skills have -3 mana cost. Or if you want more DPS, maybe if you also decide to use a Circle of Guild, Herald of Purity buff effect plus physical damage. Herald of Purity is a buff that we use because it already provides more physical damage. It then gets converted to obviously elemental, thanks to the weapon. So if you use this, you may need that implicit actually. But if you cannot find this implicit, maybe it is hard, I don't know. It was cheap when I bought it. You may need that rare ring instead. Craft maybe crit multiplier, any elemental damage, spell damage, life, resist, any missing attribute. So you can in the end play with a rare ring, obviously. This build already has some good DPS, so you can easily skip 1 or 2 items and play the build maybe for cheaper, those kind of stuff. That is about it. I'm just gonna take a look at the talent tree and show you a couple of things there. So let's start. First of all, this is an Inquisitor build. This is the obvious place to use an Unnatural Instinct, because this is so much powerful in this location actually. if you just followed my Inquisitor builds, I play lots of Inquisitor builds. I always use this here. Area of effect. This works for Reap mostly. Exsanguinate doesn't have area, obviously, because it is a chaining skill. Guess speed doesn't do much. Physical damage here. Some curse effect here. Regeneration. This is Inquisitor's one of the best stats. There is some skill effect duration here. It can also work for some skills, but I don't know right now. So yeah, decent place. But you can obviously start playing with this. You will lose a little bit DPS. Obviously, it is not necessary because this is a 8 Exalt Jewel. But this is a high budget custom crit build. You definitely need to spend some currency, obviously, for this build. So let's just explain this here. First of all, Brutal Restraints are good jewels for aura effect. If you still need maybe 90 resistances, you maybe miss some aura effect, try to get some Brutal Restraints. You can put this anywhere you want. This place actually sees lots of notables that this build uses. Divine Judgment, we actually found a non-curse aura effect here. So Devotion, we also found one here. We also use these here. Light of Divinity. These don't have, by the way, non-curse aura. As you can see, I already edited the jewel. Crit Strike Chance, Cold Resist, these are not that important. But this also had increased effect of non-curse, so triple jewel in the end. This number is fake. I'm not gonna share the number because people are gonna abuse this market, because triple aura effect jewels are near impossible to find. So that's why I'm not sharing it, sorry. That is what I do, otherwise people just abuse it and no one can buy it. You should probably get help from TFT Discord, like always, and that is your best place to find these kind of jewels, or use Divine Orbs. You don't need a triple jewel, just get a 1 or 2 modifiers, and you also don't need to use this jewel here. There are lots of locations. You know, maybe get a jewel slot somewhere else, you know. Probably, maybe this part, but not really sure. This part maybe can be good or not. Let's see, crit. Probably not also. Probably the best place is here, by the way. Because you can probably see this leadership. Barrier. You can get these life nodes here, we didn't pick it. Hired Killer. I'm not sure if it sees this one. There's also another synergy. I will just also explain this while we are at it. So let's say I put Brutal Restraint, I don't know. Let's say here, alright. Maybe I spent 3 points to the jewel slot, alright? I'm just assuming right now. Also, let's do that so you can understand better. Brutal Restraint, let's just put that in this socket. So let's say you found a good Brutal Restraint on this location. I'm just assuming that this one has aura effect, this one has aura effect, this one has aura effect. Normally you need to do this, right? Bam, bam, bam. Wasted lots of points. It is impossible to get this, right? But this jewel slot was only 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually 5 points, I guess. But maybe you can skip something else, alright? Maybe some life or those kind of stuff. So maybe if you really need that non-curse aura, here's what you can do. As you can see, this actually has a keystone normally here. Mind over matter. So I'm just going to show it. Impossible escape. Mind over matter. So I'm just going to use this jewel on any other slots. This is going to be an example, so let's just get rid of Watcher's Eye for now. As you can see right now, I can actually see these notables here. Asylum, Anointed Flesh. Also, let's just put this here. As you can see, this jewel sees these notables. Maybe this has, again, non-curse aura in it. This maybe has non-curse aura. Maybe this one has. So because I actually put Mind over Matter, what is this jewel's name again? Impossible Escape. I can actually get these notables like this. And if you put that Brutal Restraint here, bam. Now I have those non-curse auras. Alright? So this is a really good synergy. This is very nice for timeless jewels. You can do these kind of ridiculous combinations. So in the end, if you maybe cannot find a good Brutal Restraint here, you maybe can find it somewhere else. You may need to maybe skip some maybe life nodes like this. Effect of non-curse. I don't know, maybe skip some suppression. Don't play with 100%. Maybe if you really need the 90 resistances, I'm just assuming. Or maybe get rid of these life nodes. I don't know, skip something if you really need to do that, if you want it. This is a good method, alright? Moving on. What else? does this build have? A large cluster. Prismatic card, just usual stuff. Sadist. This build chills, ignites and shocks at the same time, so this is one of the best notables that you can get in a cluster. Also Dorian Lesson, this is how we got Life Leech. This jewel was 3 Exalt, this combination. But if you maybe need to skip Dorian Lesson, maybe it is expensive, or maybe you want to skip 2 points. This is something that you can do. You can again put cold damage leech, fire damage leech, any damage that you pick, because this build deals all the damage types on your gloves implicit. Eater of Worlds, I guess, or Searing Exarch, one of those, because our gloves already has those influences, alright? So maybe you can put that leech on your gloves and do not get a cluster like this. You can even use another cluster. So this is that. What is this? Introspection for those 90 resistances. This is how we get the final 1%. Mana reserve efficiency, so we can actually reserve lots of stuff. This build has a lot of buffs, by the way. Let's just count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What the? So if I die, I need to press 10 buttons. Nice. Let's just check here what else we used. Hotheaded jewel, while ignited, lots of stuff. So these are good for Fulcrum builds. There is also replica Hothead, but I believe yeah, that is also here. Replica Hothead, this time it is chilled, attack speed, movement speed. So these are very nice in the end. Also forbidden jewels, instruments of virtue. These are like 50 chaos. No one uses this. This notable Inquisitor has Battle Mage. Gain added spell damage equal to the damage of your main hand weapon. This is a two-handed stuff that has huge physical, flat physical. So if you use that Battle Mage notable with the Forbidden Jewels, because this is the cheaper, you can actually get another one like this, maybe get this instead, something like this. But these are, I believe, expensive. But this jewel was, again, 50 chaos each color. Maybe 90 chaos, something like that. Under Exile for the both colors. So that's why in the end you can actually get that Battle Mage like that and convert this weapon's physical damage to spell damage. So let's just get rid of one of these maybe, so we can see. What the hell? You definitely need to buy these jewels, guys. Huge flat DPS. Was this? No. I already messed with the path of building anyways. I need to reset it after the video. Yeah, I'm not gonna even press save. I believe that's about the build guide. Just checking one last time. Already explained everything. That's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. You can join my Discord if you want to chat with me. If you have any questions, that is where you should ask me. That is where I chat with people every day. If you are feeling generous, you can become a Patreon member. If you have any build ideas, again, you can just contact me in my Discord. Maybe I will try to do these kind of different stuff as always. Thanks for watching. I will see you later. Bye bye.